NATCON also. So we'll start on Journal Club today. We have two topics for discussion which are quite related, and it's a very, very important topic in view of current management of carcinoma breast. The first topic will be the effect of axillary dissection following sentinel node biopsy being positive. Dr. Nitesh Pradhan will be presenting the first one, and second will be by Snehashish Nath, and Dr. Somen Das, who is in charge of oncology unit at Netaji Subar Cancer Research Institute, will take us through the scenario. So Nitesh, to start, please.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Dr. Nitesh Pradhan, second year PGT, Department of General Surgery, Samar Bangar Hospital. Today, topic for my journal club is sentinel lymph node dissection with or without axillary dissection in women with invasive breast carcinoma and sentinel node metastasis, a randomized clinical trial. Primary author was Armando E. Gulenio. About the journal publication starts in 1920. Impact factor was 14.77. Publisher was JAMA Network. Editor-in-chief is Melina R. Kibbe, and frequency is 12 times a year. Start with introduction. Axillary lymph node dissection has been part of breast cancer since the description of the radical mastectomy. Axillary lymph node was defined as an anatomical level 1 and 2 dissection including at least 10 nodes. Axillary lymph node dissection as a mean for achieving local disease control carries indisputable and often unacceptable risk of complications such as seoma, infection, and lymphedema. Sentinel lymph node dissection was therefore developed to accurately stage tumor draining axillary node with less morbidity than ALND. Sentinel lymph node dissection alone is accepted management for the patient whose sentinel lymph node are histologically free of tumor, while ALND remains the standard of care for patient whose sentinel lymph node contains metastasis. The changes in understanding and presentation of breast cancer has called into question the need for ALND. No study has conclusively demonstrated survival benefit or detriment for omitting ALND when metastatic breast cancer is identified by SLND. The aim of the topic is the primary aim of this study was to determine the impact of ALND on overall survival in patients with sentinel lymph node metastasis treated in the contemporary era with lumpectomy, adjuvant systemic therapy, and tangential field radiation methods. This study is multi-center, non-inferiority, randomized phase 3 trial. 115 sites participating in American College Surgeon Oncology Group, Z0011 trial, enrolled patient from May 1999 to December 2004. All the patient provided written informed consent. The eligible patients were the women with clinical T1, T2 invasive breast carcinoma, no palpable adenopathy, and 1 to 2 sentinel lymph node containing metastasis identified by frozen section, touch preparation, and HNE staining on permanent section were eligible for participation. Women were ineligible if they had 3 or more positive sentinel lymph nodes, matted nodes, or gross extranodal disease, or if they received a neoadjuvant hormonal or chemotherapy. Intervention given was lumpectomy and tangential whole breast irradiation. Those randomized to ALND underwent dissection of more than 10 nodes. Systemic therapy was at discretion of the treating physician. Study design and treatment. Before randomization, all women have had SLND and were stratified according to their age, that is less than equal to 50 years or more than 50 years, and estrogen receptor status, tumor size less than equal to 1 centimeter or more than 1, or less than equal to 2 centimeter and more than 2 centimeter. The eligible women were randomized, assigned ALND or no further axillary specific intervention. All women were received whole breast opposing tangential field radiotherapy. The use of adjuvant systemic therapy was determined by treating physician and was not specified in the protocol. The patient most commonly entered the study post SLND following identification of metastasis on final a total 891 registered patients, out of which 287 were registered pre-SLND and assigned to the treatment after intraoperative. Intraoperative documentation of sentinel lymph node metastasis. Patients in this group subsequently found to have more than 3 tumor-involved lymph node were included in this analysis. The follow-up with history and physical examination were performed every 6 months for the first 36 months and yearly thereafter. An annual mammography was required. Study endpoint was the primary endpoint was overall survival, which was defined as from the time of randomization to the death by any cause. Short-term primary endpoint was surgical morbidities, and the secondary endpoint was disease-free survival. Breast cancer recurrence was characterized as locoregional disease, tumor in the breast or ipsilateral clavicular, subclavicular, internal mammary, or axillary node, and distant metastasis. Statistical analysis. The primary endpoint was overall survival as the measure of non-inferiority of the no further axillary specified intervention compared to axillary lymph node. Based on the literature, overall based on the literature at the time of study design, overall survival was kept 80% at 5 years for optimally treated node positive women, and the SLND alone group would be considered clinically non-inferior to ALND group if the 5-year survival rate was 75% or greater. A hazard ratio of 1.3 or less. Four formal interim analysis and 1 final analysis were planned for overall survival, and O'Brien-Fleming alpha spending strategy was used to generate stopping boundaries for each plan. Overall study significance was maintained at 0.05. However, all these analyses were not implicated. Because of this, a single terminal hypothesis test with alpha of 0.05 is applied to the data, which makes it consistent with the planned overall significance level of 0.05 in the original study plan. Ineligible patients were retained in all analyses, both the intent to treat and treatment received analysis. Kaplan-Meier survival curve for overall survival were compared by log rank test. The unadjusted hazard ratio was calculated using Koch regression analysis and non-inferiority p-value. As a second analysis, known prognostic factor including adjuvant treatment were included in the Koch regression model to generate the adjusted hazard ratio for overall survival. Disease-free survival was analyzed using Kaplan-Meier curve and univariable and multivariable Koch regression analysis with 95% confidence interval. A base model was created that included the treatment arm SLND alone versus ALND, age less than equal to 50 and more than 50 years, and whether the patient received adjuvant therapy, yes or no, and the added prognostic variable to this model individually. The only variable that were obtained on 90% or more of the patient were included in the multivariable analysis. Locoregional recurrence rate was compared with Fisher test. Result, start with patient characteristic. The disease characteristic, the first patient enrolled in May 1999 and the actual close was December 2004. The date of last follow-up was 3 April 2010. and the patient enrolled from 115 institution. No quantitative difference were observed between the treatment received sample and intent to treat sample analysis. So intent to treat results are reported. Disease characteristics are baseline were balanced between the two groups. In figure 1 shows the consent diagram EXOG trial Z001, a randomized trial of axillary lymph node dissection in women with clinical T1, T2, and 0M0 breast cancer who have positive sentinel node, in which the 891 patient was randomized. ALND arm has 445 and SLND is 446. Out of which 25 patients withdraw from ALND arm and 10 patients withdraw from SLND. And the intended to treat sample was for LND is 420 and SLND is 436. Now these are the baseline characteristic, baseline patient and tumor characteristic by the study group, which shows no significant, which shows
Comparable.
Which are comparable, which has no significant difference between the two groups. Treatment result, there was an expected difference between the LND and SLND treatment group and the total number of involved lymph node removed. The median total number of nodes removed in ALD group was 17 and SLND alone is 2. And the total median total number of histologically removed involved nodes in both the group are equal, that is 1:1. Micrometastasis identified in SLN is 137 in LND and 164 in SLND. 21% of the patient undergoing LND had more than equal to 3 involved nodes compared to 3.7 undergoing SLND alone. 4 or more involved nodes were seen in 13.7% of LND patient and 1% of SLND alone patient. Adjuvant systemic therapy and radiotherapy received are almost equal in both the group and has no significant difference. Surgical morbidities with LND, paresthesia, shoulder pain, weakness, lymphedema, and axillary web syndrome. The rate of the wound infection and axillary seroma paresthesia among the patients in Z001 trial was higher for LND group than SLND alone group. Lymphedema is in the ALND group was significantly more common in subjective report and also tended to be higher by objective assessment of arm circumference. These findings are in accordance with other randomized comparison of SLND without versus without LND. Overall survival, the overall survival of both the groups has no significant difference with the p-value of 0.25 as shown in this figure. And at the median follow-up of 6.3 years, there were 94 deaths, 42 in SLND and 52 in ALND. Now this table shows the adjusted hazard ratio for overall survival comparing SLND alone group to LND group. All models are adjusted for the treatment group assignment, age, and whether or not the patient received adjuvant therapy. And the adjusted ratio for all the variables are less than 1.3. That was kept as a cutoff. Hence shows a non-inferiority between the non-inferiority of the sentinel lymph node dissection alone group. Now this figure shows the disease-free survival between the two groups and has no significant difference between the two groups with p-value of 0.14. This table shows adjusted hazard ratio for the disease-free survival comparing of SLND alone group and LND group. Model are adjusted for the treatment group assignment, age, and whether or not the patient received adjuvant therapy. and the adjusted ratio were less than 1.3 as a cutoff, and the p-value 0.47. P-value are insignificant for both the groups. The 5-year rate of local recurrence were 1.6 and 3.1 in SLND and ALND group respectively. Local regional recurrence-free survival at 5 years was 96.7% and 95.7% in SLND alone and ALND group respectively. Discussion. In the ACO SOG Z001 11 randomized trial, ALND did not significantly affect overall survival or disease-free survival of patients who had clinically T1 and T2 breast cancer and positive SLN and were treated with lumpectomy, adjuvant systemic therapy, and initial field whole-breast radiotherapy. Findings are consistent with those of the NSAPP B04 trial, where negative lymph node women are randomized to radical mastectomy and total mastectomy with irradiation. Now, findings from Z0011 trial: high rate of local regional control achieved with model multimodality therapy even without ALND, and 100% of patients in Z001 0011 has nodal involvement. Yet the 5-year overall survival was over 90%. Axillary nodal recurrence rate was only 0.9% in the SLND alone group of this trial. The changes in the modern multi-modality therapy emphasizes a need for ongoing re-evaluation for the standard local therapy. The low rate of the local regional recurrence at 5 years and the nearly identical overall survival and disease-free survival between the treatment group in ACO SOG Z00 trial, which suggests that difference in survival between the study group are unlikely to emerge with a longer follow-up, since ALND would only affect the survivor by virtue of improved local regional control. Axillary recurrence is usually an early event, since the total local regional recurrence rate in Z0011 trial SND alone group at 5 years is only 2.5% compared to 3.6 in ALND group. It is extremely unlikely that further follow-up would result in enough additional recurrence to generate a clinical meaningful survival difference between the groups. The absolute difference in 5-year overall survival between treatment group in Z0011 is 0.7%, numerically favoring the SLND alone group, and the hazard ratio for overall survival comparing the SLND alone group to ALND group was 0.78 with a 90% confidence interval of 0.56 and 1.10. Taken together, this suggests that contemporary women may suffer the morbidity of ALND without any meaningful improvement in survival rate. However, even in the high-risk women, ER negative in Z0011, primary analysis suggests no effect in elimination of ALND on survival. The limitation of the study was the failure to achieve target accurate. Possible randomization imbalance favoring the SLND alone group must be considered. Important implication for clinical practice from trial is examination of regional node with SLND can identify any detected metastasis that would indicate a higher risk for systemic disease and need for the systemic therapy to reduce that risk. Women with positive SLN and clinical T1 T2 tumor undergoing lumpectomy with radiotherapy followed by systemic therapy do not benefit from addition of LND in terms of local control and disease-free survival or overall survival. The only additional information gained from LND is the number of the nodes containing metastasis. Only rationale for ALND in these patients would be if the finding of additional nodal metastasis would result in changes in systemic therapy, since current guidelines do not support difference in adjuvant systemic therapy based on the number of positive lymph nodes, except in some uncommon select subgroup. ALND does not appear to be warranted in this patient population. Patient not included in the Z0 trial was those undergoing mastectomy without radiotherapy, patient treated with partial breast irradiation, patient receiving neoadjuvant therapy, and those receiving whole breast irradiation in the prone position. Conclusion: axillary lymph node dissection remains standard practice when SLND identifies a positive sentinel lymph node metastasis. ALND may no longer be justified for those women who have clinical T1, T2 breast cancer and H&E detected metastasis in sentinel lymph nodes. Those treated with breast conserving surgery, whole breast irradiation, and adjuvant systemic therapy. The implementation of this practice change would improve clinical outcome in thousands of women each year by reducing the complication associated with ALND and improving quality of life with no diminution in survival. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Nitesh, very exhaustively presented. So, what is the rationale behind this study? Why this study is so important?
Sir,
Why do we want to avoid ALND? Because the standard of practice is clinically node positive disease, go for ALND. Clinically node negative disease, do an ultrasound. If it is negative, then you go for SLNB. So what is the rationale of doing avoiding ALND in a node sentinel node positive disease?
Sir,
Why do you?
Sir, in ALND, the surgical morbidities are more compared to sentinel.
So it is to avoid the surgical morbidity associated with ALND. That is why we always tend to avoid ALND if possible. Okay. Now, can you tell me what are the criticism of this trial? So, is it really a practice-changing trial?
No, sir.
Why? You have mentioned it because the target accrual was more than 1,500 patients, but that was not achieved. Number one, so sample size was not achieved. Number one. Number two is there is a fallacy. So if we look at the study design, so all patients are T1, T2 tumors. They are undergoing when you with a tangential field. When you irradiate the breast with tangential field, you automatically irradiate the axilla.
Yes.
So in all these patients, be it in the ALND group or in the SLNB group, all these patients are receiving axillary radiation. You know, so if we had a previous study called AMAROS trial. AMAROS trial says if you have a node negative disease or a very small nodal burden in axilla, they have compared between radiation versus ALND. In that case, they have shown no difference in outcome. Okay, so radiation can be an alternative to surgery, can be an alternative to ALND. So here in Z11 trial, all the axilla are being irradiated. So that is a problem. That is a limitation of this trial, criticism of this trial. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is one thing. And third one is the randomization. There is some question regarding randomization. Well, we are not going into details of that. Okay. So I think the message should go to the postgraduate trainees that Z11 is nowadays all the breast associations, they recommend that Z11 trial is applicable to very early tumors, that is T1, T2 tumors, sentinel node positive, 1 or 2 nodes, not 3 nodes. If 3 nodes are positive, then go ahead with ALND. So 1 or 2 nodes without any extra capsular invasion. And number 3, the patient is receiving whole breast radiation and all the adjuvant is ready to take all the adjuvant therapy as per the protocol. So here you can avoid ALND if your 1 or 2 sentinel node is positive. All right. So that is the standard of care till date. Okay.
Okay. So you can pass to the next presentation. Dr. Snehashish Nath.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, please share your screen. Yeah.
Sir, the Alanis trial is a follow-up trial of the previous JADE11 trial. The journal on which it was published was the Journal for the American Medical Association by the United States. Its frequency is 48 per year according to the Wikipedia, and it's open access, delayed after 6 months. Why this trial was important? Why this follow-up was important? The results of American College of Surgeons Oncology Group JADE11 trial were first reported in 2005 with a median follow-up of 6.3 years. Longer follow-up was necessary because the majority of the patients had estrogen receptor positive tumors that may recur later in the disease course. Objective: to determine whether the overall survival of patients with sentinel lymph node metastasis treated with breast conserving therapy and sentinel lymph node dissection alone without axillary lymph node dissection ALND is non-inferior to that of women treated with axillary dissection. Background: axillary lymph node dissection, long used to identify women with axillary node metastasis, was replaced as a staging procedure by the less morbid sentinel lymph node dissection (SLND). Between 1998 and 2004, the use of ALND declined from 94% to 36% in women with no axillary node metastasis, whereas 68% of patients with sentinel node metastasis underwent ALND in 2004. Axillary node dissection is an effective method of maintaining regional control, but it is associated with a significant risk of complications such as lymphedema, numbness, axillary wave syndrome, and decreased upper extremity range of motion, as already mentioned by the previous presentation. Characteristics: this multi-center randomized phase 3 trial was registered with the National Cancer Institute and approved by the institutional review boards of participating centers. All patients provided written informed consent. Adult females with histologically confirmed invasive breast carcinoma clinically with less than 5 cm, no palpable adenopathy, and a single lymph node containing metastatic breast cancer documented by frozen section, Dutch preparation, or hemotaxin and eosin staining on permanent section were eligible for participation. Patients were with metastasis identified initially or solely with immunohistochemical staining were ineligible. Women were ineligible if they had 3 or more positive sentinel lymph nodes, matted nodes, or gross extranodal disease, or if they received non-adjuvant hormonal or chemotherapy. Before randomization, all women had SLND and were stratified according to the age, that is less than 50-year group and more than 50 years group. Estrogen receptor status, tumor size, that is less than 1 centimeter, more than 1 centimeter, and less than 2 centimeter, or more than 2 centimeter. Eligible women were randomly assigned to ALND or no further axillary specific intervention, specifically no third field nodal irradiation. ALND was defined as an anatomic level 1 and level 2 dissection, including at least 10 nodes. All women were to receive whole breast opposing tangential field radiotherapy. The use of adjuvant systemic therapy was determined by the treating physician and was not specified in the protocol. Patients most commonly entered the study post SLND following identification of metastasis on final pathology. However, of the the 891 registered patients, 287 were registered PSLND and assigned to the treatment after intraoperative documentation of single lymph node metastasis. Patients in this group subsequently found to have more than 3 tumor-involved lymph nodes were included in the analysis. Patients were assessed for disease recurrence according to standard clinical practice. History and physical examination were performed every 6 months for the first 36 months and yearly thereafter. An annual mammography was required, other testing based on the symptoms and investigator's preference. Total 891 patients were randomized. Due to several reasons, several patients went out of the study, and in the SLND group, there are 436 patients, and ALND group, there are 420 patients. So this is the group. So this is the overall 5-year survival, and in comparison with the overall 10-year survival. As we can see in the graph, so in the ALND group, overall 5-year survival was 91.8%, which reduced to 83.6% in 10 years. And in the SLND group, the overall 5-year survival was 92.5%, and in the SLND group, it reduced to 86.3%. In the disease-free survival, overall disease-free survival in ALND group at the end of 5 years was 82.2%. At the end of 10 years, it was 78.2%. And in the SLND group, the overall disease-free survival at the end of 5th year was 83.9%, and it was 18.2% at the end of 10th year. So, among 891 women who were randomized with a median age of 55 years, 856 patients completed the trial, 446 in the SLND alone group and 445 in the ALND group. At a median follow-up of 9.3 years, the 10-year overall survival was 86.3% in the SLND alone group and 83.6% in the ALND group. The 10-year disease-free survival was 80.2% in the SLND group and 78.2% in the ALND group. Between the years 5 and 10, one regional recurrence was seen in the SLND alone group versus none in the ALND group. 10-year regional recurrence did not differ significantly between these two groups. There are certain limitations of this study. First is not all biological subtypes are represented in large numbers. Differences in outcomes may be seen for patients with different individual circumstances. Due to low accrual and low event rate, the study didn't reach the prescribed sample size of 1,900 participants or 500 deaths. Some patients had irradiation protocol variations that could have resulted in small alteration of outcomes. So this is the conclusion. Among the women with T1 or T2 invasive primary breast cancer, no palpable axillary adenopathy and 1 or 2 sentinel lymph nodes containing metastasis, 10-year overall survival for patients treated with sentinel lymph node dissection alone was non-inferior to overall survival for those treated with axillary lymph node dissection. So these findings do not support routine use of axillary lymph node dissection in this patient population based on 10-year outcome. This is already mentioned in this article. Sir, should I proceed with, there are several other studies supporting this conclusion and opposing this conclusion.
Yes,
Should I proceed with that?
Yes. You can just mention the studies and they are supporting this and opposing it.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
mention
Okay.
the
Thank you.
of the studies and their conclusions.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. Sir, here is a study as mentioned. I have selected it from PubMed, sir. Sir, here conclusion is patients with SLN metastasis who do not undergo ALND have a low incidence of regional recurrence. Axillary lymph node dissection is not necessary for regional control in patients with micrometastatic disease. this was published in Art Surgery Journal in 2010. Aegian et al. Completion axillary lymph node dissection not required for regional control in patients with breast cancer who have micrometastasis in a sentinel node. Another study, Langer I, Juliet U, these doctors, and the name of the study was axillary lymph node dissection for sentinel lymph node micrometastasis may be safely omitted in early stage breast cancer. It was published in 2009, and Surgical Oncology EPUB, PMID is already mentioned here. Conclusion here was this analysis of unselected patients provides evidence that a completion level 1 and 2 ALND may be safely omitted in early stage breast cancer patients with SLN micrometastasis. Third, this study opposes our current discussion topic, sir. Noguchi M. It was published in European Journal of Surgical Oncology in 2008. Here it is clearly mentioned that it seems premature to abandon ALND in clinical practice. So conclusion, in the absence of data from randomized trial, the long-term impact of SLN biopsy alone on axillary recurrence and survival rate in patients with SLN micrometastasis as well as those with ITC positive SLN remain uncertain. These important issues must be determined by careful analysis of the results of ongoing clinical trials. Thank you, sir.
Right, thank you. So that was a very crisp and nice presentation. We need to know few basics of axillary dissection. I think we have 10 minutes more time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So in 10 minutes, I would like to share my screen and
yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Some very basics of axillary management, which you need to know. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Yes. So we need to know the basic of axillary staging. Okay. I think all of you are aware of this. How do you stage? What is N1? Anyone can tell what is N1? So there are two types of staging. One is clinical staging, another one is pathological staging. Okay. So pathological staging is after you dissect the axilla, either in the form of SLNB or in the form of ALND. Okay. And clinical staging means you palpate the axilla as well as you do an ultrasound of axilla. So ultrasound is included in clinical staging. Okay. So what is N1? If you have a tumor there and you have ipsilateral axillary mobile lymph node. Okay. So ipsilateral axillary mobile lymph node is N1. Now, what is N2? N2 is ipsilateral axillary matted or fixed. What is fixed? Fixed means one lymph node is attached with some structure like the latissimus dorsi, like the chest wall muscles, etc. And matted means 2-3 lymph nodes are attached to each other. Okay. So ipsilateral fixed or matted is N2. N2A, we call it N2A. Now, what is N2B? N2B is, if you look at this picture, this is axillary region and this one is, what is this area? Internal memory area. So presence of internal memory lymph node in absence of axillary lymph node, ipsilateral, is known as N2B. Okay. And N3A is when there is infraclavicular lymph node in presence of axillary. Okay. 3B is axillary plus internal memory. All right. So internal memory is difficult to assess clinically. When we do a staging CT scan thorax, then only this internal memory is picked up. Okay. So N3B is axillary plus internal memory. 2B is in absence of axillary when you have internal memory. Okay. 3C is presence of supraclavicular lymph node in presence of axillary lymph node. So that is clinical staging. This is very important. This one is one which I thought worth sharing, and another one is pathological staging. Pathological staging is very easy. 1 to 3 lymph nodes is N1, 4 to 9 nodes are N2, and more than 10 nodes are N3. All right? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the dictum of axillary management is when you have impalpable axilla, and that includes a clinical examination. You do an ultrasound, you find a positive lymph node there, you do an FNA and directly go ahead with ALND. Clear? USG, it is negative. Then you do an SLNB. So that is the clear-cut management of axilla. Now, how do we treat? If it is node positive, we go for ALND. Limit of dissection is usually we go up to the level 2, though there are some incidences of metastasis. When you have studied lymph node in level 1 and level 2, then we do dissection along with rotas node dissection. All right. So if it is node negative, then what we do? We do an SLNB. So what is SLNB? SLNB is dissecting the first node or the sentinella. Sentinella is the guard which is present in the axilla where the lymph first goes there. Okay. So what you do from this cancer, the tumor goes into the sentinel node and you pick up that sentinel node. All right. And you send it for frozen section, do an HE study, you find whether it is positive or not. That is the concept of sentinel node biopsy. How do you do sentinel node biopsy? You can do it with blue dye, you can do it with blue dye plus colloid, and that is the standard of care. So two dye technique, one is colloid, another one is blue dye. So two dye technique is the standard of care. We can now do with ICG. Most of the centers are now having ICG compatible laparoscopy set. So that you can utilize in doing SLNB. Okay, Sentimag is a magnetic material which is used for sentinel biopsy, and you can do it with frozen and histopathology. So OSNA is a nucleic acid. Right. Now SLNB with ICG that we have discussed. But we the next two important topics is SLNB after NACT. We all know it is an upfront patient. We do an SLNB in node negative disease. Now, a patient who comes to you with T4 tumor, N0 tumor. So what you are going to do? You are going to put the patient on neoadjuvant chemotherapy, right? So this patient has node negative disease to start with. You have given NACT, and again the patient remain node negative. So is sentinel node positive, possible in these patients? So the study which has looked into this matter is NSABP B27, which showed that yes, it is acceptable. So it is important to know that SLNB, we have when we are comparing SLNB, whether it is feasible or not, a false negativity rate of around 10 to 11% is okay. So that means this NSABP B27 trial showed sensitivity of SLNB in post NACT setting is 85% with a false negative rate of 11%. So that means it is feasible. So we can do SLNB in post neoadjuvant patients. Okay, so that is one message, and this slide is important. Next is to start with the disease is node positive. Now you have given chemotherapy and the patient has become node negative. Okay, so it is a T3N2 disease. You have given chemotherapy and it has responded brilliantly. Now there is no node in the axilla and there is some residual in the breast. Would you like to do an NACT in this patient? Right. So this trial, this is called Sentinel trial, which has looked into this matter. Whether we can perform SLNB in post-NACT patients in those who had node positive disease earlier before NACT, now has become node negative. All right. So they have mentioned that there is very high false negative rate. So we accept a false negative rate of 10 to 11%. Here it was more than that. But they have done a subgroup analysis where they showed that if it is a luminal HER positive, hard to enrich or TNBC group, yes, if we use double colloid plus dye, blue dye, then SLNB is positive. Yeah, feasible. Okay. Now another important issue is when you get a lymph node and you are putting the patient on neoadjuvant chemotherapy, you mark the primary tumor as well as you mark the first lymph node which you see significant in the axilla before you you start the patient on neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Okay, then only post neoadjuvant SLNB is feasible. So these two trials, NACBP B27 and Sentina trial. These two trials has looked into the matter whether SLNB is feasible in post-NACT setting or not. You might be getting SLNB as short note. You might be asked as, in your breast cancer, if your case is breast cancer, you will be asked about, if it is an early breast cancer, you will be asked about SLNB. Even if you get a LABC in your examination, then also examiner can ask you, what are your plans? So you will obviously tell, I will go for neoadjuvant chemotherapy. If they say, if this patient becomes node negative after NACT, what are you going to do? Is SLNB feasible? So these are two your answers. NACBP B27 will tell you if it is upfront node negative, yes, SLNB is possible after NACT. And Sentina trial will tell you if it is node positive and if it is hard to enrich or TNBC subgroup, if we have marked the primary and the lymph node there in the axilla, it is possible. Okay, so these are the two important aspects of axillary management in breast cancer. Now, another important issue which I was telling earlier, that can we avoid LNB in sentinel node positive cases? So Amaros trial that has compared between SLNB positive patients were randomized between radiation versus axillary dissection. Okay, they found no difference. So basically, Z11 trial is an extension of Amaros trial, because Z11 trial we are giving radiation to the whole breast. The axilla is automatically, because of the tangential field, the axilla is getting automatically irradiated. All right. So we can avoid axillary dissection in, see the patient population here and in Z11 trial are more or less same. Both are T1, T2 tumors, less than 5 centimeter tumor, clinically node negative, 1 or 2 sentinel node positive tumors, they are taken into this trial. Okay, so yes, 1 or 2 positive lymph nodes, basically we are treating the axilla with radiation. Okay, so I think that completes our discussion. Do we have any questions from any of the participants? This part we have discussed. Z11 and their follow-up, 10-year follow-up we have discussed. So that was the ASBS, American Society of Breast Surgeons recommendation. We can follow this Z11 conclusions in T1, T2 tumor, 1 or 2 positive node without any extracapsular extension, patient acceptance and completion of whole breast radiation therapy, and the patient is ready to take all adjuvant therapy as per the protocol. Okay. So Milind, any more questions from anyone?
No, sir, I don't see any questions in the chat box. Sir.
Right. So sir must be in NatCon.
Yes, sir. Sir has joined the conference.
So I think that's all what we have to say. Any? Okay. This study is not so important. Now people are doing study on micrometastases and macrometastases, but these are the results are not available. Results are still not available. So till date, node negative axilla, do an SLNB. If SLNB positive, more than 3 node positive, it is upfront ALND is recommended only for very selected population, T1, T2 tumors, those who are undergoing breast conservation surgery along with whole breast RT, they are the candidate for no further axillary surgery. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I'll stop share.
Thank you, sir.
So I think we can conclude with that. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.